It's your daily dose of Donna. Welcome to the show. Today is Tuesday, June 17th, live from Charleston. We have another day of deliberations in the Karen Reed trial without a verdict. I am so sad to say. We were listening and watching the trial and the Only Fan all the way from the beach, Folly Beach in Charleston, South Carolina. I have updates for you from the trial. We will be watching some clips from that, plus new subpoenas from Wayfarer that are going to really shock you. You're gonna be so surprised about these. I was really surprised to tell you guys all about it. Plus, I have a really exciting documentary trailer to show you exposing what went down from It Ends With Us that I'm actually part of, in addition to Justin Baldoni, Zach, Peter, he's in it. This comes from Popcorn Planet. So many people that you guys are going to recognize are in it, plus some crew members from It Ends With Us. We're going to be able to talk about that, all about my trip in Charleston, and some other gossip, other things that we can talk about, uh, just other things that we can talk about from this trip. I have so much to share with you guys. I can't tell you, I can't even I just have so much I want to talk to you guys about. And I am so worried, just like you guys, about the jury. Trust me, I am on pins and needles. In fact, I thought earlier today, I was like on the verge of tears. I truly feel like I want to scream. I'm with you guys. Let's get into it together. Let's be frustrated together. That's all we have in this moment, is to get through it together. Everyone take a deep breath. It's your daily dose of Donna. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate all of your lovely comments. I did get some sun. I'm trying so hard to stay away from direct sun. I am spraying so much sunscreen on. I am covering my face up like you wouldn't believe. I'm wearing as many hats as I possibly can. I'm telling you, ever since Teddy Mellencamp and her diagnosis of skin cancer, I am insane about it. Plus, I have so much, you probably can't tell right now, but I have so much sun damage on my chest from so many years of just not giving a crap about protecting my body from the sun, that I am so self-conscious about my incredible sun damage on my chest. I love feeling tan, but I don't want to get direct sun. So I am so covering up. But we were playing beach volleyball. I was taking beach walks, me and Bethany. Just kidding, it was just me. But I was like Bethany, I was taking beach walks today, and I was stressing. I was stress walking today, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, wondering how long until, Judge Bev goes to prison. How long? How long until Judge Bev goes to prison? That's how I was feeling today. I'm so upset, you guys. I don't even understand how we are going to get through this trial in a safe way. Now, there's some good things that we can think about with Karen Reed, right? We went through an emotional roller coaster today, and I was DMing with a couple of your favorites. I was DMing with Bobby Sauce. He's Take Naps. He's been on my show now a couple of times. We've talked about this trial. He's the one that did those incredible, closing arguments that went viral on Instagram and Twitter, where he was just like, why I'm wanting Karen Reed to be free, because, and he lists all the reasons why this is the most insane thing. And then, of course, Justin Anderson and I are DMing. We're just all going so crazy over this. And so many of you guys also, because it just seems like ludicrous. Now, I didn't watch the first trial live. I didn't watch it live. So I have absolutely no idea exactly how it went down. But so many of you guys did. And you said this exact thing happened in trial number 1. This exact thing happened. And what's crazy, what's so maddening about this is that the first offense is so easy. It is not guilty or guilty. The third offense is so easy, not guilty or guilty. It's that second offense, which reads like you have to, read code. You have to understand code to understand what the second offense is. And it's so upsetting. And what is so frustrating is that David Yannetti went to Judge Bev the day before the jury started deliberating and said, please, for the charge that charge day or whatever, what a charge court. I don't even know what it was called, and said, "Please, can we make this easier?" And she said, "No, I deny all of your motions." And then today she finally was like, "Oh, okay, I'm willing to change it." And then still today, she was absolutely the charge conference. Thank you. Still today, she was rereading it and she was making mistakes, even rereading the instructions. Everything Judge Bev does is it has a hint of mistakes and a hint of controversy and a hint of bias, and everything is wrong. And now my whole family is in on it, right? My whole family understands, my kids understand, everyone understands that Judge Bev is wrong and everything. And I'm telling you, there was a moment there. Obviously, they came in. The jury asked some questions. Let's go through some of it. What I'll do is I'll try to kind of fast forward. I'm sure most of you guys were watching this live. I wasn't watching it live because I was, like I said, I was watching. I was I was over in the at the beach, but I was just getting all the tweets and kind of just watching the updates from the tweets. But I was listening and I was kind of trying to get an idea of what was happening. But the jury comes in, they ask a question. They ask 3 questions, actually. And here is kind of some updates. And I'll try to kind of like zoom. That's what Emily D. Baker says, through some of the important parts, and we can get through it. But before I do that, I just want to make sure it's very important for me to shout out my sponsors. And I love my sponsors. Today, I have some really, really exciting ones. Graza olive oil is my first. This episode of Daily Dose of Donna is brought to you by Graza. It's that time of the year. Whether you're grilling on the deck or chilling on the beach, Graza is your one and only summertime, never blended, single origin olive oil. Why Graza for summer? And you guys know I love to cook. I am a cooking fanatic. I cook almost every single day for my kids, for myself, for my husband. And this is the best olive oil. I am telling you, I have tossed all the other olive oils out because this is the kind of olive oil that not only can I eat plain on my salads as a garnish on top of all of my food, but I can cook with. You have the trio. You have a frizzle for your grill, which is a high point, smoke point, like you can cook at high heat. Because haven't you all heard that like some olive oils you shouldn't cook at high heat? This has a smoke point of 490 degrees Fahrenheit. Frizzle is perfect for grilling, frying, or crisping. You have sizzle, which is an everyday cooking oil for roasting, marinating, and sauteing. You have drizzle, or drizzle on a salad, basically, with a bold, punchy flavor, and it goes great on bread, ice cream. I haven't tried that. Or a classic potato salad. There's a single origin goodness, only one olive varietal from one region, no mysterious blends, and it's a squeezable bottle or spray bottles. No more messy tins or drippy spouts. Just aim, squeeze, and go. I use them all the time. My kids like them. I like them. They're easy. They're lightweight. They're awesome. And you can get 10% off your first order on Graza's site. But I personally suggest grabbing the trio. That's the best one. The sizzle, frizzle, and drizzle. And you also rhyme. You sound like Dr. Seuss. So you're set for every style of cooking. Get 10% off your first order. You go to grazo.com and use the code Donna. That's DANA to get 10% off the trio, which includes sizzle, frizzle, and drizzle, and get to cooking your next chef quality meal. All right. Thank you, Graza, for sponsoring the show. All right. Let's watch a little bit of this morning's drama. Let me tell you, it started here. The first time was after 11 hours of the verdict clock going. So it was earlier in the morning. This is 2 hours into the day. It was the first time where we saw, I have the speed going 1.25. I'll speed it up even more just to kind of see how it was going. The lawyers are kind of conferring. We don't really know exactly what's happening. The judge starts kind of sitting down. Freaking Judge Bev. I'm sorry. Do you see the judge, the lawyers kind of starting to talk together? Judge is sitting there just kind of doing her thing. They're passing notes. You don't really know what's going on, but you see everyone kind of talking back and forth. And you can see Karen's almost like excited. Like you can see the energy up, right? You don't really know exactly what's happening, but you can tell that the energy is up. Um, Thank you so much. Red Ginger says Donna has the best sponsors. I do. I really love my sponsors, and I only take sponsors of companies that I actually really do. Thank you so much. And Mermaid says, love you, Donna. So glad I found you months ago. I love you, Mermaid DIY artist. Thank you. Judge Bev says, Judge Bev. Anna says Judge Bev is horrid, like Madame Mim from Sword in the Stone. I don't know who that is, but I'm with you. HGO says Bev is so lazy. She's always looking for food or a break. LOL. That is so funny. She has major black robe syndrome. I don't know what that means, but she sucks. I'm with you on that. Okay, so they're kind of like conferring, and we don't really know exactly what, but you can tell like there's energy. There's high energy. Of course, this is on 1.5 speed, but there's high energy. Now, I don't know who these people are. I'm always wondering, like, who are these people?
Counsel, what I'd like to do is I'm just going to read the questions to you now. So please take your seats.
Questions.
So I'm going to.
This is when Judge Bev starts reading the questions that the jury proposed. And we hadn't known what the jury questions are, although the counsel at this point knew what the questions are from the jury. So we start finding out right now at this point what the questions are. I hope 1.5 is not too fast, but I'm going to leave it here because I can't handle Judge Bev talking too slow.
Read the questions. I'm going to have them marked. Then I will take a short recess, let you all talk about it, and then
I'm going to drink Chardonnay.
All right. So I received three questions from the jury. The first one is, they appeared on note cards, so that I don't know what order they came in, but this is the order I got them. This is the order I'm going to read them. What is the time frame for the OUI charge? Offense 002, Section 5, OUI at 12:45 or OUI at 5 a.m.?
So they want to know what time did she get the OUI charge? Was it at 12:30 or was it at 5:45 a.m.? Like, when did they actually check her under the influence? Which is interesting because, of course, it would have been in the morning. I mean,
the second are video clips of Karen's interviews evidence. How can we consider them? And the third, does convicting guilty on a subcharge, example offense 2, number 5, convict the overall charge? So I will give you some time to consult. I think the first one, I'll hear from you as to what the time frame is, and I don't need to hear from you now. That's pretty clear cut what they're looking for. The second one are video clips of Karen's interviews evidence. How can we consider them? Well, we know they are evidence and they can give them whatever weight they want. I would also be inclined to give a humane practice instruction, and tell me if you want the digital evidence instruction. It's a little awkward because it would be something like, before you consider any electronic communication in your deliberations, you must first find that it is more likely true than not that the person who appeared in the communication was in fact Karen Reed. So think about that when I come back out, but I think it's appropriate to give a humane practice instruction, and also tell me what you think about what to say about the weight. The third question is a little bit more, I think, unclear as to exactly what they're looking for. Does convicting guilty on a subcharge, example offense 2, number 5, convict the overall charge? What I'm proposing, I gave you both a verdict slip where I included the language. I know yesterday I said they have to be read hand in hand, the jury instructions with the verdict slip. I've incorporated the language from the jury instruction into the verdict slip. I've given each side a copy. When I come out, I'd like your input on whether you think this is appropriate. I would instruct them, as I did before, that they start at the top and work their way down. That's the only thing I did not specifically put in here, but I think it takes it step by step, an analysis to do it. So how much time does the defense want to be able to respond to me?
How much time does the defense want?
And the Commonwealth?
That will suffice.
Okay, so it's 7 past. Why don't I come out at 25? I have to give you 20 minutes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, so she gives them 20 minutes to kind of confer. How much time does the defense want is really what she wants to know. And this is when the lawyers start talking.
All right.
I agree with the court on principle. I just don't have the indictment memorized, so I don't remember. We can pull that up.
Now, we don't need to go through exactly what's happening here, but at this point, basically, my guess is the judge knows and Brennan knows, just like actually at this point, someone said this earlier, Maya. Bev knows full well that these questions mean that they're just hung up on OUI. She knows this means Brennan effed it. This is exactly what I was thinking. These questions are good. Okay, these questions mean that they're hung up only on one thing and one thing only, the OUI, the operating under the influence. This means they are not questioning whether or not did the car hit John O'Keefe or not. Because if that was the question, then it would just be guilty of manslaughter on number 2. They wouldn't be questioning, does the OUI mean not guilty? Would have, under what? It would be guilty. You guys, they're going to say not guilty on manslaughter or not guilty on hitting and leaving the scene of the crime and causing death. I believe she's getting not guilty on 1, not guilty on 3. And number 2, she's going to get an OUI, unfortunately, but she's going to get an OUI. And the question is under what conditions, et cetera, et cetera. So it's basically a DUI. The problem is there's a maximum sentence of 2.5 years in Boston for an OUI, which is wild. And this is, I mean, it's wild that you would get this. And believe it or not, Judge Bev was probably going to give her a 2.5 year sentence for OUI. But it's overall good news. However, if they cannot, all 12 of them, agree on not guilty or an OUI with no manslaughter on number 2, then they are a hung jury, which is why there's still no verdict at the end of day 2 or day 3. I guess we're full day 3, which is freaky, you guys, that we're still there. Now, it's not over because they go back, they answer those questions, right? They go back and our boyfriend, Alan Jackson, gives answers.
And then there are suggestions that we have regarding the edits that the court has made to the verdict slip. And I'm happy to go over those with you and put those on.
Okay, go ahead.
He wants to make the
With
verdict
regard
slip
to going
easier.
from the top to the bottom, just under number 1, number 1 reads not guilty of the offense charged or any lesser included offense. We would propose that the court add the consistent language that it's added throughout the verdict slip. If you quote, if you find the defendant not guilty of the offense charged or any lesser included offense, comma, stop and sign the verdict slip, period. That's the only place that that language doesn't appear, and I think it should appear.
Okay.
Okay, so he gives a bunch of different suggestions. I can't run through every single one. The fan. We go back to the fan. Judge Bev goes for a smoke break and a Chardonnay break to decide what she believes and what she thinks. They go back to deliberate. Then we come back. Everyone convenes back. I'm freaking out. I'm like, what does this mean? And this is what happens. Hopefully I pulled up the right spot. I guess we're just sitting here in silence for a bit. Judge Bev looks very tired.
The right one, so it's taken us a while. So the first question, what is the time frame for the OUI charge?
Oh, this is when she answers the questions to the jury. Okay, so she answers the questions. We don't need to watch that. They continue to deliberate. Then what happens here? They all come back in. Or no, maybe they don't come in for a while. This is a lot of footage of the outside. Tons of people outside, lots of energy, lots of Karen Reed supporters, lots of Turtle Boy footage, lots of pink, lots of energy, lots of fans, literally fans and fan. And then a little bit later, we get a notification that everyone is
essentially saying if we could just ignore it. We can't.
And this is what made me want to cry, was when Judge Bev, right here.
We received a question from the jurors. If we find not guilty on 2 charges but can't agree on 1 charge, is it a hung jury on all 3 charges or just 1 charge? I got some input from the defense at sidebar, essentially saying if we could just ignore it. We can't.
Okay. So basically, if we can't agree to all 3, is it a hung jury? Did you guys hear that? Let me try to go back just a little bit so you can hear that again. I'm going to make it a little bit slower. It's a very important moment. And it's so maddening, it makes me want to die. Listen to this question that the jurors are asking after 12 hours and 40 minutes of deliberating.
We received a question from the jurors. If we find not guilty on 2 charges but can't agree on 1 charge, is it a hung jury on all 3 charges or just 1 charge? I got some input from the defense at sidebar, essentially saying if we could just ignore it. We can't ignore it. To me, it's a theoretical question, and we don't answer theoretical questions. I tell the jurors that they're not to be concerned with the consequences of their verdict, and that's exactly what they're doing here. So I would propose just writing simply, this is not a question I can answer on this and sending it back.
The defense position is not certainly not.
Alan Jackson's pissed. He responds.
However, I think that it is apropos, given the timing of when that question came in, which was literally before the court had answered the other 3 note card questions. I think that it would be appropriate to send a quick note just asking them, given the fact that there's some clarity in your other questions, does this answer your question? In other words, can you proceed without any further input by the court regarding that second question?
So that made sense initially, but why ask them, do I really need to answer it, to then tell them I'm not answering it?
Because I think at some point, they need to know what the law is. It's a reporting question. In other words, I don't see it as theoretical, as the court indicated. I see it a little bit differently, which is what are our options? And the options are built in the law, not in theory. If they come back with a verdict on more than one count, but they're hung on a separate count, they are to report those 2 counts, whatever counts they came to a verdict on.
So that's for a later time, right? So this is at this point.
Right.
It's premature, it's hypothetical, it's theoretical. I understand your point. I think I disagree with you at this point. It may be something later. The way the question's worded, if I find this, if we do this. I'll hear from the Commonwealth.
We agree. It's quite your first suggestion, I think, is most appropriate, and we would endorse that.
Yeah, I'm going to do that at this time, Mr. Jackson. I'm not going to have a back and forth with them. I'm simply going to say, because it's true, it's the law, that this is not a question I can answer.
But I would strongly suggest we find some other way. If that question continues to remain, then they're not going to ask that question. I don't think the court can say, or should say, I can't answer the question, because the court can answer that question. The court absolutely can answer it. I would simply say, this question is not before the court without further information, or something like that. Not the court can't answer that question, because if that question remains in their minds, we're going to end up in the exact same position that we were in last year.
There are other steps that can be taken to perhaps prevent that.
Okay. I, again, did not watch the first trial, but apparently this exact situation would have happened in the first trial. This is beyond, and I don't know. I'm trying to put myself in the jury's situation. They don't know what happened in the first trial, do they? I don't think that they knew exactly how this ended in mistrial in the first trial, right? They don't know. So what exactly happened in the first trial? Do they know why they're sitting in the second trial? They don't know. But the fact that all the judge is being asked by the defense, all they're being asked is to say, we just want a slight change in the wording. All we want you to say is, at this time, this is blah, 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 blah. He's basically saying it's not able to be answered. You're lying when you're saying that as the court, you cannot answer this. That's not actually the truth. Because if they find out that if they vote her, not guilty or guilty, and then she will or will not, like, it does change the answers. And so they may think, okay, well, if we do vote not guilty on this and guilty on the other ones and not guilty on this or guilty, it will change everything. I would just say not guilty on everything. I'm going to freak out for her. Like, I was seriously at this point, Lance had his AirPod in watching on his phone. I had my AirPod in watching on my phone. We were at the beach and I'm like squeezing his knee. Like, I'm seriously livid in this moment watching this part. You guys, I can't handle the injustice in these things. I can't handle it. My heart can't handle or take these things. It's very, very hard for me to take it. All right, let's keep watching it.
Whatever those steps are, I think the first step down the wrong path is to say, throw our hands up and say, well, we can't answer that question. Well, we know we can't answer.
So I don't know if I want to put you in an uncomfortable position, Ms. Giannetti. I'm inclined to answer the question the way I stated.
Could we have 2 minutes to confer with counsel as well?
Watch this.
How about 1 minute? You guys are 10 minutes late.
Can we have 2 minutes to confer with counsel, Your Honor? She says, how about 1 minute? You guys are late. I'm sorry. What? Judge Bev says, how about 1 minute? You guys are late? Judge Bev? I've never. Okay. You guys are me. You guys are me in the comments right now. I lost my shit when she said that. Micah says, oh, fuck all the way off. Suki, that's when I lost it. Like, it's too much. It is too much. Oh, how about 1 minute? After an 8-week trial where she gave Brennan free reign to ask all he wanted about tofu and ham sandwiches. Oh, how about 1 minute? You guys are late. What the fuck is wrong with this woman?
1 minute. Thank you.
So they take 1 minute, really, really fast, rushing because this woman's life is on the line. Her life is on the line, but no worries. 1 minute. They have to quickly confer. They do, and all you hear is Judge Bev in the background. Her deep breaths. Look at Turtle Boy in the background here doing his pacing. He's pacing back and forth. He's freaking out. This is Christina Rex over here typing up. She's tweeting. Karen Reed's mom is sitting right here. Karen Reed's brother is sitting right here. Dad is sitting right here, panicking as well. Everyone's panicking. I'm panicking. Even the foremen are probably on our side. You know what? At this point, I bet some of the O'Keefe family members are on our side. I mean, you have to be at this point, right? It's beyond frustrating.
A very slight tweak with the court's language. I don't have a principled objection to the court's language that we not answer the question this time. I would simply ask that the court answer the question as you suggested just now in the court. It's premature to address this question at this time.
No. What do you say, Mr. Brennan? My response was, this is not a question I can answer for the reasons I stated.
He says, can you please say it's premature for the court to answer this at this time? And she goes, what do you say, Mr. Brennan? I'm sorry, Mr. Brennan's your boss? He said, can you say at this time? And she goes, what do you say, Mr. Brennan? Fuck you, man. I'm so livid.
Theoretical, and we tell jurors that they cannot be concerned with the consequences of their verdict. And that's exactly what you would be asking me to endorse. What's the Commonwealth's position on the proposed?
I agree with your first suggestion.
Yeah. I'm going to send it in like this. Your objection's noted.
Your Honor, if I can make my record a little bit clearer, the court's indicating that it doesn't answer questions about the consequences of the juror's verdict. That would be punishment. Of course, you can't answer a question like that. This is not the consequences of the verdict. It's how do they report a verdict. So I think saying I can't answer this is sending a false message to the jury. If the court would simply indicate this is not appropriate for me to address at this time, that assuages all concerns. Certainly assuages our concerns and protects this reader's rights. I think that
well, I think what I could add is this is a theoretical question, not a question I can answer. That does the same thing.
Is
there an objection? I understand, Mr. Jackson.
add the clause at this time.
Is there an objection to me putting this is a theoretical question, not a question I can answer?
No objection.
At this time, Bev.
I don't know the court to finish writing, but at this point, that is over our objection. I
understand.
I just want to make sure the record is absolutely clear. That's over our objection. I don't think that's an appropriate answer to a very, very clear question. It could be answered in an innocuous way that does not affect Ms. Reed's rights.
Okay.
This way it does.
Okay, it was a clear question that the defense first told me to ignore. So,
I didn't tell you to ignore anything, Your Honor.
all right, we are all set. So let's send this in.
Fuck you! Oh my God. She's so beyond passive and horrible and mean. You guys, I literally at this time, I was on the verge of tears. I'm not joking. Like something took over my body. I truly was enraged. I was so upset because these are the things that you're like, this is on TV. This is being aired live. This is in front of the world, national. Look, CNN is reporting on it. Fox News is reporting on it. The world is watching and you're acting this way. What else can happen out there behind closed doors? Helen Jackson is saying, like, I object to this. We don't agree with this. We don't want this. And she's like, noted, but you're ignoring me. I mean, why? What did Karen Reed do to her? It just reminds me of like when you have a teacher that just like doesn't ever give you a chance, or like a boss or someone that just is always so horrible to you. It's so upsetting. Okay, so anyway, the jury comes back in and she answers the question. And at the end, or I don't even know if the jury ever came back in. And then at the end of the day, the jury does come back in. And then she does that stupid pout, that stupid face. And now at this point, she's just a stupid faced judge because that's what she gets. And she gives the jury that face where she's like, thank you for your
All right, jurors, I
time.
know you want to go home, so it's been a long day for
A long
everybody.
day.
I have to give you those same cautions. Please do not discuss this case with anyone. Do not do any independent research or investigation into the case.
I hope
If
they
you
do. I
happen
hope
to
they're
see,
watching
hear,
this.
or read anything about this case, please disregard it and let us know.
Disregard.
Be careful with your social media use. We know you've all been working really hard and we appreciate it. So please just clear your heads. Don't think about this case at all. as best you
Bullshit.
can, and we'll see you tomorrow.
They're watching Daily Dose of Donna right now. Jurors, are you watching my show? If you are, Judge Bev shall not be trusted. Free Karen Reed. Free Karen Reed. And honestly, please, if you're watching Daily Dose of Donna, free trip to LA. I will pay your way to LA for Dosers Live. Okay? You will be on a panel and we will shower you with affection. Absolutely. Like, what do you mean clear your heads and don't think about the case? Their social media algorithms are listening. They're opening TikTok and they are watching Boozy Beauty and Nerdy Pink Panda, and they're watching us. They're watching us right now. Hi, juror number 3, free Karen Reed. I mean, what is this? They're watching The Lawyer You Know, talking about them. They're watching Turtle Boy. And there's one juror. There is one juror, and I'm making this up, but there is one juror out there who's holding this all up. And I just feel it. And I don't know who it is, but there is one juror out there that is holding this entire thing up. And I'm concerned about that one juror. Oh, jurors, I know this is a very long day for you. Oh, go home, okay? Relax. Keep your social media to a minimal. Just watch food reels. Oh, what the hell are you talking about, food reels? Oh, I just made that up. They're not watching food reels, but like, it's crazy. It is absolutely insane. You can come in here. I'm just doing a live. You can say hi. Oliver's here.
Hello.
Oliver, Karen Reed, not guilty? Or what? No, she's not yet.
Oh.
What do you think?
Not guilty.
Yeah?
Not guilty.
What do you think about Judge Bev?
Uh,
What do you think about the judge?
eh,
Yeah. Yep. Correct.
not good.
Not good. You know what's up. Bad judge, bad. Judge Bev, bad. That's what he said. Teaching them young. Teaching them young. She's going to give me nightmares, this one. All right, you guys, I have some crazy news in addition to this regarding the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni case about a subpoena that was just, or not a subpoena, but a list of, well, there's a list. Actually, it's a subpoena. And this is actually really interesting. There's a list of witnesses out there who the Wayfarer team just put out there, and you're going to die who's on this list. And it's a public list, and it's someone that you guys all know from like this drama. Do you need a battery pack? Yeah. It's someone that you guys all know from this drama, and this is crazy. This is crazy, and just you wait. But before we get into it, another sponsor from Daily Dose of Donna. If your dog could talk, they would beg for Olly. The full body tail wag, the excited little hops, the big goofy grin, that's the Olly effect. Olly delivers clean, fresh nutrition in 5 drool-worthy flavors, even for the pickiest eaters. Made in U.S. kitchens with highest quality, human-grade ingredients, Olly's food contains no fillers, no preservatives, just real food. And here's the thing. Healthier food means a happier pup. More energy, shinier coats, better poops, and more excitement at mealtime. With 5 protein-packed recipes like fresh beef with sweet potatoes or fresh turkey with blueberries, even the pickiest eaters can't resist. You might think, dang, my dog eats better than I do. And that's probably true when it comes to Olly. So here's what you do. You introduce your pup to Olly. You fill out Olly's 30-second quiz, and they're going to create a customized meal plan. You're going to get a welcome kit. You're going to start to see benefits really fast. There's multiple meal plans to choose from, and it's going to be so much easier for you than having to run to the store or making food yourself or trying all these different meals and different kinds of food that are going to make your dogs have to accumulate to different kinds of food. And I've seen it, all the poops, the running poop. You don't want that. Olly is the best that I've ever had. My freezer is stocked, and I constantly just take a few out each week to thaw for the week. I open up the package, I mash it up in their bowl, done. Dogs deserve the best, and that means fresh, healthy food. Head to olly.com/dailydose. Tell them all about your dog and use code DAILYDOSE to get 60% off your welcome kit when you subscribe today. Plus, they offer a happiness guarantee on the first box. So if you're not completely satisfied, you're going to get your money back. That's ollie.com/dailydose and enter code DAILYDOSE to get 60% off your first box. Okay, thanks, Olly. You know I really use Olly for my dogs. I love it. Okay, you guys. So I got a DM today from one of the listeners, one of my dosers, who actually is someone that really has helped me out. She was someone that gave me the insight. Remember when Blake Lively went to the premiere in Austin for Another Simple Favor and was like posing outside of the premiere with that guy? He was like the guy in the black and white suit or the black and white like button up shirt, and he was holding like a coffee and she was holding it too. And they were taking pictures outside, and then they were taking pictures inside, and they were all over. They were like in 5 different places. She and this guy were in so many different locations, and we were like, why is she with the same guy in so many different places? Well, we found out that this guy was kind of like a produced person, that he was supposed to be there, and it was because of this. He was a domestic abuse phone line guy. Exactly. He worked for this domestic abuse, anonymous phone line. And this same doser was the person that gave me that tip. And she sent me a DM earlier. Now, this is public information, so it's not something I'm giving you that's off the record, but it was posted on Court Listener, which is, Pacer, basically. It's the public documents. And what's happening right now is that Baldoni's team has a list of witnesses that they need to kind of like go through and get disclosures from. They want to start going through discovery and speaking to witnesses from this case, witnesses from the movie, witnesses on Lively's team, witnesses on Lively's side, just kind of like that they were trying to talk to Taylor Swift, et cetera, to get more information of what do you know, who have you spoken to, what do you have? Well, one of the people on this list is none other than, and the list is long, but one of the people is none other than wackadoodle, Me Too doctor, Dr. Leslie. Dr. Leslie Dobson. Do you know who that is? Dr. Leslie. Should I remind you guys who Dr. Leslie is? Happy to. Dr. Leslie, who I've had to unfollow because she sends me to the most frustrating places that I think I could ever go to. And that is not easy anymore after watching Karen Reed and Judge Bev. I had to unfollow. I can't handle hanging out to, watching someone like this in my feed who I believe is spreading nothing but misinformation. Dr. Leslie and I had a friendly back and forth at the very, very beginning of this case. In fact, I started kind of following her around like Kanye stuff and Diddy stuff. And when the Justin Baldoni Blake Lively case started, remember at the very beginning of the Blake Lively drama, I believed Blake Lively right until Justin Baldoni started producing receipts. Well, she never changed her siding. She stayed very much on Blake Lively's side, and she's very much still on Blake Lively's side. Now, if you remember, and this is going back and back and back, if you remember, Zach Peter and I had received some documents from a source that were allegedly straight from the production. And they were letters or they were reports of sexual harassment reports. And they were anonymous from people who were on the movie set. And Zach and I had done this like really special live on a Saturday where we were like, listen, we had received these anonymous reports. This was before Blake Lively had responded with her amended complaint. Try to go back in like your brain, to before Blake Lively had responded with her amended complaint, after Justin Baldoni had responded. Justin Baldoni had his amended complaint. Blake Lively had not yet responded with her amended complaint, and her attorneys were saying, just wait, we are coming back with a really big one. It's going to knock your socks off. It's going to have everything. You're going to be blown away. We're going to have so many receipts. And then we got this anonymous, all these anonymous reports from these people that were on the movie set. Well, they came from her. And I trusted it. I trusted who this was sent from me, because supposedly they were sent from Sony. And I was like, we are getting really, truly an in, because she's saying they're coming straight from Sony. And I trusted, because at that point, she wasn't someone that I thought was off her rocker or whatever. And this is alleged. I don't know who she is really at all. But I just trusted that they were legit. And I was like, let's take a risk here and show what they are and just say these are alleged, etc. Well, then Blake Lively came back with her amended complaint. Those reports were not in. There were like elements of them that were a little bit legitimate in her amended complaint, but they weren't straight and remember, like they weren't word for word exactly the same, but there were elements that felt like kind of connected. Anyway, the list of people first let me go over to Leslie's current Instagram. She doesn't talk about Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively often, thank God. She's talking a lot about Diddy and about a lot of things. The last time she did talk about Justin Baldoni, from what I remember, was when he got his lawsuit dismissed. And this is what she said.
His lawsuit is dismissed for lack of evidence, and both he and Friedman got reamed in court. Told you.
She says Baldoni's lawsuit got dismissed for lack of evidence, and both he and Friedman got reamed in court. Told you. What? Is any of that true? I don't think so. Then she continues.
Oh, I forgot to mention, yes, Baldoni's lawsuit was dismissed, but the New York Times was dismissed too. So Friedman, lawyer, you getting what, 40, 50,000 a week? Everything just got dismissed? Oh, I forgot to mention, yes, Baldoni's law.
Okay, and then she continues.
Oh my God, why is this all happening on a Monday? The Baldoni suit. Basically, this countersuit was dismissed. Baldoni's countersuit was for defamation. And basically, Blake Lively did not defame Justin Baldoni. Now, here's why. They only used evidence that was in her initial complaint. They didn't have any additional evidence. So you can't use privileged communication, which was privileged in her complaint because it's communication between her and the court system. You can't use that as your evidence. Now, with Ryan Reynolds, there was no reckless disregard of the truth found in the evidence supplied by Baldoni's team. And everybody is saying, oh, they can refile. Well, they can come back in two ways. Now, implied covenant. So did they have evidence of her
off that long? I really can't. Now, the point is that she comes up with these reels all the time. And I wish I could try to scroll down long enough to find her old school ones where she would talk about how Justin Baldoni was a sexual assaulter, how he sexually assaulted multiple women in college. He would talk. Okay, I see Baldoni's lawyer. I have no idea what this is. Let's watch it just to be even more angry.
Okay, guys, I have major predictions for this Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni lawsuit. If you don't care about this, don't watch this video. Dr. Leslie, forensic psychologist. Here's what I think is going to happen. One, the BS that Friedman, Baldoni's lawyer, came out with today, I don't think any of it's true or reliable, but I think the Combs case is getting so much attention that he still needed to carry that vibe and make it worth the money. So I can see him either taking medical leave of absence from this case. He could be held for misconduct if they actually go to trial, although they don't plan on going to trial, or he could be fired because it's just not going well and Surowitz is not going to want an attorney like this. Too, I think that Justin Baldoni is going to say something like, oh gosh, I just can't take this anymore. You know, I'm going to do what Blake wanted and I'm going to make a public apology for the SH, really SA, and I'm going to just put this to bed and hope that she drops the lawsuit. I think the judge will dismiss the case that Baldoni has against Blake because it is retaliation. I also read someone's research that when they analyzed the Baldoni supporters, they noticed that 80% were bots, which would make sense because if you go into all these profiles, there's nothing there. Like they just open the profiles, the names have been changed, there's no followers. They do look fake and they aren't responsive. And I was made aware that Friedman hired a lot of people in the office to just get on social media and just spread hate and just go on all of these accounts and make the creators that are pro Baldoni really, really amped up, thinking that they had all of these supporters. But that is going to wear out, especially as the money wears out and as we get closer to trial, when none of this actually matters. Because when we get to trial, what really matters is the evidence. And what it really sounds like is, you know, where there's smoke, there's fire, right? Well, there's a lot of smoke around Baldoni and Friedman, but there's no fire. And the smoke is building around Blake, and the evidence is real fucking fire.
Okay. So in that one reel, she said that Baldoni is a sexual assaulter, and she says that Brian Friedman does cocaine by going around Brian Friedman. Okay. Then she says that we are all bots. She's so annoying, and she's like, I think she tries to upset people. Like she tries to poke. Okay. The point is, guess who is on the list of the witnesses that Brian Friedman is trying to depose and subpoena and try to get information from? None other than Dr. Leslie Dobson, which made me so happy because I want Brian Friedman to sit with Dr. Leslie Dobson herself. Let me try to find her name on this list. We'll go through this list together because this is a good list in case you guys haven't seen it. And find specifically how the hell she got so involved with this case and why she felt the need to get so invested that she's sending creators like myself and Zach Peter there you go, Dr. Leslie Dobson. Here you go. Dr. Dobson is a forensic clinical psychologist. She has relevant information that the Wayfarer parties may use to support their claims and defenses in this action. And there you go. This is her information right there. Why is Dr. Leslie Dobson on the list for witnesses? Isn't that so interesting? There has to be a link. Now, let's go through some of these. I mean, there's a long ass list, so I don't think we can go through everyone, but this is an interesting list. So it starts, of course, with just the main people like Justin Baldoni, Jamie Heath. We have people that have worked with Brian Friedman and the agency group, all the people that have worked, with the main people. Of course, we have Blake Lively. We have people that have worked, of course, Ryan Reynolds, Vision PR, Leslie Sloan, Stephanie Jones, New York Times, Megan Toohey, etc., Jed Wallace, Street Relations. Then you have Alex Sachs, who was the producer of It Ends With Us. More producers, Mariella Villa. We have the Andrea Giannetti, who is the executive of Sony Pictures. A lot of people at Sony Pictures. We have Todd Black, who is the executive producer of It Ends With Us that got brought into It Ends With Us. We have Tara Hanks, who is a president of Wayfarer. Jenny Slate, of course. Brandon Sklenar, whose real name is Brandon Beacons. Never knew that. Hassan Minaj, who is also in It Ends With Us. He played Jenny Slate's husband. Kevin McKidd, who was in It Ends With Us. Amy Morton, don't know who that is, but she was in It Ends With Us. Alex Neustadter, who played young Atlas. Isabella Ferrer, good old Isabella Ferrer. Robin Lively, who's also Miss Blake Lively's sister. Adam Monshine, he was the doctor. You guys remember the doctor who played he was the one whose face was in Blake Lively's junk, apparently. Tina Havelis is Blake Lively's assistant. Vivian Baker is makeup artist to Miss Lively. Ann Carroll, hairstylist to Miss Lively. Don Saladino, a name we know well, that is Miss Lively's personal trainer. Personal trainer to Mr. Baldoni is Matt Ulowski. Mr. Baldoni's personal assistant, AJ Marbury. Dion Suleiman is Mr. Baldoni's personal assistant. And then we have the talent agent from WME. We have Ari Emanuel from the CEO of WME. We know him, of course. Patrick Whitesell is another executive chairman of William Morris. Warren Zavala is, oh my gosh, I know Warren. That's crazy. That's Mr. Reynolds, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' agent. Jason Hodes, again, is a partner there. Justin Greystone is the person that that is a weird thing, but he is Blake's manager that lives out in LA. Colleen Hoover, obviously, her assistant. Taryn Fisher. Now, do you guys remember? This is an interesting one. Do you guys remember Taryn Fisher? I talked about Taryn Fisher a long time ago. She is an author and she writes books that are like bestsellers as well. Now, Taryn Fisher had to delete her Instagram because Taryn Fisher was out in, where did they shoot It Ends With Us again? Out in New Jersey area, right? New Jersey. Taryn Fisher went out to New Jersey and got to hang out with Colleen Hoover when she was filming It Ends With Us for just a few weekends or a few days. They were only out there for like 5 days. And when all of this went down, one of the people that was a fan of Taryn Fisher's, but she was following me, sent me a DM and said that she reached out to Taryn Fisher. And she said, I have a problem with Justin Baldoni and Colleen Hoover's relationship. This is it's so shitty what happened with what Colleen Hoover did. I am so team Justin Baldoni. And Taryn Fisher lost her mind on this woman. She said, you don't even know Justin Baldoni's a horrible human being. Da, 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 da. And so I was reading the DMs on my show, and it was a show that had 15, 20,000 people that saw it. I don't know if more and more people started reaching out to Taryn Fisher. She deleted her Instagram because she was horrible. She was like, Justin Baldoni is a sick guy, da, 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 da. And she went off, and she had spent 2 days, 3 days on set. And she all of a sudden knew that Justin Baldoni was the sick guy. It was really strange. So of course now she's getting subpoenaed. So maybe someone on Brian Freeman's team watched that show. That's interesting. Also, let's see. The intimacy coordinator. We have a few intimacy coordinators, Lizzie Talbot and Chelsea Carey. Now we know officially their names from the show. Lauren Shaw is the stunt coordinator. We have a line producer. We have the assistant director, Julie Bloom. The assistant director, another one, Chris Surgeon, a bunch of assistant directors, Carrie Lee, Alex Finch. We have a post-production supervisor. That's probably Lisa Rogers. That's probably one of the editors, the people, the ones that were DMing back and forth with Justin about I'm so sorry that you're going through this. Also the editor, Una Flaherty. We have the DPs, Barry Peterson and Tobias Scheisler. I should ask Lance if he knows these people. We have assistant editors, Mark Persley, Shane Reed, Eric Damon, costume designers, all the costume people, the script supervisor, all the camera operators, Ari Robbins, Dave Thompson, Sebastian Slater, George Turr, Evan Walsh, Sean Malkovich. Oh my God, I need to ask Lance if he knows any of these people. They're literally asking every single person that worked on this movie, you guys. All the colorists, the composers, the original composers. Brian Tyler, remember I told you about him? Brian Tyler was the original composer on the film. And then Rob Simonson was the composer on the crew. Duncan Blinkenstaff. And Sean Levy, Bradley Cooper, Taylor Swift. And then it continues to so many more people. The list is so long, but the Leslie Dobson makes me so happy. And I hope she gets nice information at her face from Brian Freeman. She's seriously still going off on her stories against Brian Freeman. She's like, oh, Brian Freeman, you're watching all of my stories. Da, 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 da. She is hard for me. She's really, really hard for me. Blake and Ryan were on the list. This is all from Justin Baldoni's side, by the way. Okay. Lastly, before we wrap up for today, I want you guys, I am so excited about this. If you guys remember, I was participating with a documentary with Popcorn Planet, Andy Signore, and Zach Peter is part of it, and a bunch of amazing people are part of it. It's called It Ends with Justice. And the trailer is official, and it's out today. So before we wrap up, I'm going to play the trailer for you guys. I am in the trailer. It looks phenomenal. It's so good, and there's a new song attached that is so good. I'm going to play it for you guys. It looks like I can't wait to see it. It's the only documentary that I've seen so far that actually will shed some real justice on this case rather than this bullshit documentaries that you see on ID, channel that look like so Blake coded and, speak for Blake. So I'm going to share this again. This is all under Popcorn Planet. You can watch the whole thing on Popcorn Planet, and I'm only going to play for you the trailer, but at the end of this YouTube, you can find out how you can help and fund the documentary. Here you go. This is It Ends with Justice.
The new It Ends With Us feud rumors. Is there some kind of rift between the cast?
Justin allegedly made Blake feel uncomfortable on set, or specifically her postpartum body.
I think Blake Lively's ready to direct. That's what I think.
Justin Baldoni just hired Johnny Depp's crisis PR person. Yikes.
Other fans believe that the movie's promotion hasn't addressed the real topic of the film.
So grab your friends, wear your florals, and head out to see it.
A book about DV?
Grab your striped pajamas, because you're not going to want to miss this.
Why are we using a movie about domestic violence to promote your hair brand?
Blake Lively released a line of booze for It Ends With Us.
We brought together florals and flavors. This isn't one of Blake's business ventures. This is domestic violence.
Why is Blake Lively turned into such a mean girl?
Congrats on your little bump.
She had no good reason to say it back to me. It was only to be, mean.
Blake Lively shocking Hollywood with a new explosive legal complaint.
Documents that we've obtained reveal what really happened.
I feel like I want to throw up because Blake Lively was sexually harassed by Justin Baldoni.
When I saw that Chesty was involved in the story, I woke her and I said, this is going to be bad for you. It's implied that Chesty has been paid to help smear Blake Lively.
I fell for the smear campaign. That's how much I believed her complaint until he came out with his.
Actor-director Justin Baldoni is now suing Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds.
He came with the receipts. Everyone started to see, okay,
she's lying.
When I went into meetings, I would just seem like I'm just there to be the actor. I wouldn't reveal that I actually need to have authorship in order to feel fulfilled. So I think that for them, sometimes that might have felt like a rug pull.
Exactly. That's toxic. And now immediately there are trust issues.
Having this meltdown over being asked how much she weighs, as if this was some kind of attack on her, shows their shallowness and entitlement.
If the harassment is the bigger issue, why don't we have a single copy of an HR complaint?
So your husband knew you were being SH'd at work and he just sent you off every day without sending a check-in text?
What was shocking to me was the amount of power and control that Blake Lively was asserting over the edit and over the film.
You, the employer, the people with power, are now supposed to protect me and protect me from retaliation after them. She got that stuff. Not only did she get that stuff, but she got more power on top of it.
You're blocking my camera.
Sorry.
Thank you.
It's Justin the one who suffered.
Hollywood is not as big as people think it is. It's a small community. And the first people to talk are the crew. And I have yet to hear from anybody in the crew through the years that I've been working. Nobody has said anything against Justin.
I believe in my heart, after reading all of these documents for hours and hours, that Justin Baldoni is being unfairly targeted for something that can ruin his life.
So many women around afraid to speak. Fear is by design. And it's the women who have had the ability to use their voice helped me in my fight for the world to be safer for women and girls.
That's it. Do you see the irony in that, given that you, as a woman who was there, is wearing a mask right now to share the story about what happened?
Gosh. It almost feels dystopian.
You've had people reach out from all across the board on this film, potentially that could help, and they're out of fear of their own careers, not willing to step forward.
1,000,000%.
Nobody panic.
You are making such a mess.
There you have.
So go on over to Andy's channel on Popcorn Planet and check out the rest of the documentary. It is such an incredible piece of work. He did so much and he worked so hard, and he's out there trying to expose the truth. I just feel in our heart, it's so hard when you're working against this injustice, but like when you see, just because a court says something, just because a judge says something, we're watching it in live time right now. We're literally watching it in live time with Judge Bev, that the judge doesn't necessarily mean that it's right. What the judge says doesn't necessarily mean that it's true and that it's right. And if you have in your heart a true feeling, like a gut feeling, like something is fishy, something is up, follow it. Follow your gut. I was just at the plantation yesterday. I'm like, Blake Lively got married next to a sign that says slave dwellings. Something does not connect. Sorry. That's how I feel. Anyway, you guys, thank you for spending the evening with me. I'm going on a date night tonight with Lance. We're going to go probably to BTW for a drink. That's, by the way, that's Austin and Craig's restaurant over here in Charleston. We're going to walk around. We're going to see what we'll see. And I'll be around, you guys. I love you. Thank you for hanging out with me, subscribing, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Let's hope for an early verdict tomorrow morning. I'm praying for a good one, you guys. I love you. I appreciate you. Bye.